We're beginning topic 3. It's a 5 mini topic. And the first one is 3.1. And in 3.1, we're going to say thank you to our parents for giving us the blueprints for life. Every organism gets their blueprints from their parents. In this topic, we are going to do a couple definitions. So there's a few defines here and here. We're going to talk about the Human Genome Project. We're going to talk about mutations, specifically how mutations can lead to something called sickle cell anemia. And then we're going to use this database sequencing software to look at genes in different species. 3.1.1 is review. Everybody loves review, and I think it's more than review because it seems like we talk about this quite a bit. But it says, hey, remember that in eukaryotes, so we're talking about animals and plants and fungus, that our DNA is made up, that our chromosomes are made up of DNA, and they're made up of proteins. And those proteins, most of the time, and we have some enzymes in there, but we're talking about the chromosome itself. The proteins are the nucleosomes, right? They're the histones that hold our DNA together. 3.1.2 is a little definitions here. I'm going to spend a little time here talking about a chromosome because I think sometimes there's some misconceptions. So here, many times we see chromosomes drawn vertically like this. So this chromosome is just laying on its side. And I want you to envision that there's DNA all wrapped up in the nucleosomes here, and you wouldn't be able to see it this thick. I mean, it's really wrapped up, right? But this whole thing is just compacted, double-stranded DNA. So that's what your chromosomes are. We just said that in 3.1.1. So it's DNA plus our proteins that package them together. So a section of that DNA, and we'll use a different color here, a section of that DNA is called a gene. So here in the middle here, I have this little orange area, and then it goes back to the blue. So here might be the location, right? A specific length of DNA that controls some heritable, which means you pass on from generation to generation. So you have genes, pieces of DNA in your chromosomes. And if so we've talked about how humans have 46 total chromosomes, but that's 23 pairs. So if we divide it by 2, so that means you have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and they're almost identical, except where the genes might differ. So this gets a little confusing. So here, let's pretend this is the gene that controls the color of the seed of a plant. This is a plant here, right? We're looking at flowers. So it controls the color of a seed. Here, in the same location, we call this the locus. In the same location, you are going to have the same gene controlling the color of the seed. Here, we have a gene controlling the color of the flower. And here, we have a gene controlling the color of the flower. However, the genes can be in different forms, right? In this form, I don't know if you can see it, but it says purple. And this one, it says white. So although the gene is the same, flower color, the form of the gene can be different. The next term, genome. So this is all the genetic information of an organism. Sometimes even species, sometimes we'll talk about your personal genome, but also of all the organisms of a species as well. Gene pool, now we're taking all of those species, all those individuals of the same species, and looking at all the genes. So these are the genes carried out by the whole population. Population in biology means organisms in the same place at the same time and they're the same species. So that could be like zebra in Kenya, Africa. And the last definition we're going to do here is mutation. And mutation is simply a change in the base sequence. So I put a little green dot there. So we have our A's, T's, C's, and G's, and maybe at this location we replaced an A with a G. And that mutation is permanent. So we change the sequence of our DNA.